Now, Kenya needs an additional 10 billion shillings on top of the 2 billion shillings projected by the government to finance drought mitigation activities across the country. According to the National Drought Management Authority, the amount will partly be spent on providing fuel subsidy for strategic boreholes in affected counties to sustain water projects and increasing households under the cash transfer.
Kenya is experiencing the worst drought in 40 years after 4 consecutive failed rains in parts of the country that has put about 4.35 million people in dire need of food aid. The government early this week announced a 2 billion shilling kitty to assist affected communities in 20 counties.
We have agreed that additionally to the 3.2 billion shillings government already made available, we are making again this morning an additional 2 billion shillings to support this food distribution mechanism.
According to the National Drought Management Authority, the government has so far spent 16 billion shillings since the start of the last financial year, when the cases of drought fatalities started to increase. Of the amount, 3.2 billion shillings was disbursed to 97,000 households under the Hunger Safety Net program, with each household receiving 5,400 shillings per payment cycle. An additional 1.1 billion shillings was spent on water tracking and fuel subsidy to run strategic boreholes for 24 hours. Another 950 million shillings was spent on the livestock offtake program. Despite the interventions, the government needs an additional 10 billion shillings for drought emergency activities.
The government at the moment is looking at 10 billion as the figure they're working with. But I want to believe that this is, of course, just for the immediate and life-saving measures. Once we start looking at the mid to longer-term interventions, then of course that will need much more resource.
The Kenya Red Cross Society has earmarked 2.5 billion shillings to support efforts to cushion vulnerable to, among others, offer affected families 5,347 shillings in cash per circle.
As an organization, we can't cover all the 4.35 million people that are affected, but our target at the moment, out of this 4.35, we are targeting 1.4 million people as Kenya Red Cross, with a budget of about 2.5 billion.
The cash will also be used to rehabilitate and solarize boreholes across the country to reduce fuel expenses. The Kenya Red Cross Society says there is need to sustain agricultural production, especially during the short rain period, and that the government and development partners should incentivize farming to increase food production.
Where the rains are, you can say, promising, then we are looking at distributing seeds to the people.
The rains now, given that it looks like we are in the outset of the rainfall season, if they could persist during the harvesting period, the likelihood of increase in post-harvest losses will be high. So helping farmers to quickly harvest and dry the grain and get it to safe storage will really improve the amount of food that is going to be available for the country.
Farmers are being encouraged to mechanize their farming and embrace irrigation to secure yields.
Can we do things like drip irrigation, which we can maximize on the water that we have, but still be able to grow food? I think there are many technological advances today that have also come, which we could also use.
Benson Ruba reporting for Prime Edition.